Getting cozy with my cushies and my cuties. I know there's so much cuteness here. Okay. Hey everybody, my name is George Reed and you are watching Ballerina Badass. So today I'm going to give you guys 5 steps to handle performance overwhelm. And hopefully some of these steps, or at least one of these steps, are helpful to you guys, and especially to the dancer who asked the question initially during my last live stream. So I loved this question. I've dealt with anxiety my whole life. However, I didn't know what anxiety truly was until I was diagnosed in my 30s. And as I got older, the anxiety did get worse, not better, to the point where, I remember my last performance of the Nutcracker on stage. It was not fun. I was so stressed. I was trying so hard to be perfect, and I had put so much pressure on myself that I had actually lost so much energy to the anxiety before I even went on stage and did my first step. I felt exhausted. I felt completely depleted of energy before I went on stage. And I'd warmed up properly, I'd eaten properly, everything. But I didn't feel like it was enough. Does that make sense? And so I was so anxious. And what's ridiculous about it, I've performed on stages, no lie, you guys, I feel very honored. I've been able to, how do I put this? I've had the extreme pleasure and honor of performing in front of thousands of people on really big stages. And it was amazing in solo performances, things like that. But this Nutcracker that I was doing, it was in front of my stepkids, and it was in front of a community of people that was, how can I put this without, there was just a lot of stress, okay? I was feeling very judged, not by my stepkids, they're awesome. But my point is, I felt extreme overwhelm. And then I thought back on when I was performing professionally in ballet companies, and I would have those moments too, during performances, during shows where you're just like, oh my God, just get me through till this is over. And that's not a fun way to live your life. I'm not saying that every performance is just a joy, but at the same time, my God, the career of a dancer, of a professional ballet dancer especially, it can seem really short, some go longer. I mean, look, Maya Plisetskaya, right? Maya went into her, 70s, but the majority of dancers, especially American dancers, you don't get to do it for that long. So I want you all to enjoy it as much as possible. Here are the 5 steps that I came up with that helped me. Number 1 is get a support system. When I was living at home as a teenager with my parents, as bad as things could get in the dance studio with other dancers and competitiveness and meanness and all that weirdness, I could always go home to my parents who really supported me, which sounds funny, but that I didn't have a lot of time for friends at school, so going out and hanging with my friends in high school wasn't really an option for me. Now, if it is for you, yes, lean on your friends, lean on whatever system you need. Mine was my parents. And then when I moved away from my parents, it was very difficult, especially the first year in Cincinnati, because I had friends in the dance company, Cincinnati, but they weren't really friends, It was awkward. And it's your first year. Friendships take time to develop, people. If you're lucky, you meet someone and you click right away, but I hadn't had that. So it wasn't until like halfway through the season that I met a guy at a coffee shop who was not a dancer, just completely not involved in the dance world. And we became friends, and then we started dating, and we went on camping trips, and he introduced me to all of his camping friends, and it was wonderful. And suddenly when I had that support system outside of the dance world, it's like, then I would go into company class or rehearsal the next day, and I just felt like it didn't mean so much. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't everything, and I didn't feel so isolated. I felt like I had another life outside of dance, which actually then enabled me to be a better dancer. And that was when, they started asking me, oh, hey, your dancing's really improving. Well, do you want to stay with the company? And I'm like, hell no, not after all the crap y'all pulled. But another story. But it felt really freeing. So number one, get your support system in place. Number two, look, it's cliche, but self-care, yes, self-care is really important. And when I say self-care, I mean, do nice things for yourself. Boy, and as a dancer, was that hard for me. For me as a dancer, my inclination, at least the way I did it, I was so hard on myself. I was such a perfectionist. I still fight these tendencies, part of the anxiety. I would actually I would beat myself. I would slap my thighs for being too big. I would slap myself in the face for just not being good enough, not being thin enough, not being pretty enough, not being smart enough, all these things. I was abusing myself. And I thought, well, that's all I deserve. That's so, even if that were true, how does that help an artist? I just don't subscribe to that. I don't. I mean, I just think that's the biggest gaslight in the dance world is if they're being mean to you, it means that they think you have a chance. You can give constructive criticism and you can, push yourself, but without going to the mean place, without going to the obsessive place. And I know when you say, but Georgia, anxiety and obsessiveness, it kind of goes hand in hand, and it's true. So what are ways to monitor it? Doing nice things for yourself, breathing exercises, setting alarms. Guys, this is a new thing that I've been doing lately, and I will do it. I'd do it in the past, and then I'd forget. I'd come back. Set little alarms on your phone. You can do it with a buzz so that no one else, you'd have to, try and set it during your break so it doesn't hit during rehearsal and people go, whose phone is going off? But these are like reminders throughout the day, and it's positive affirmations. I'm not telling you my positive affirmations. They're really, I feel too embarrassed, but they work for me. They work for me. And so when it comes up on my phone, I go, oh, that's right. That's right. Things that make me feel like I'm worth loving, things that make me feel worthy, reminders of my worth, to be repetitive, but it helps, okay? And remember, if you do nothing else with your life, you are enough just being you without any accomplishments. I say this as someone who has been accomplishment focused and driven her whole life. It's exhausting. So other nice things you can do for yourself: take nice baths, go on walks, make a little treat in your lunch, go and see some art, just zone out in a garden. It's tough to make yourself do these things. I know when the anxiety, at least for me, makes me feel like, no, I've got to just keep working. Oh no, I've got to keep pushing. And I will, again, the alarms that I set help remind me, oh, that's right, I need to take a mental health break. Oh, that's right, I need to breathe. I will forget to breathe sometimes because I'm thinking so hard or trying so hard. This is where also I would say, look, it takes supposedly 21 days in a row, 21 consecutive days to start a new habit. So if you don't see results in 3 days, wait, keep going, stick with it. See if you can stick with the habit of some kind of self-care routine for 21 days. I will tell you my self-care routine. For me in the morning, if I do these 6 things first, before turning on my phone, before getting into email, before getting into work, I find that my day goes a lot better. I'm not saying it's perfect, but better. So my personal 6 are: 1, brush my teeth and wash my face. Brush my teeth and wash my face. Oh my gosh. And I'll say some little positive affirmations in the mirror at myself while I'm doing it. That's number 1. Number 2, I journal for 15 minutes. Blah, blah, blah. This is like the morning pages. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be right. My editor tries to come in and critique, and I'm like, no, F you. I'm just going to blah. Usually it's about the dreams I had because I remember all my dreams. Well, almost all of them, at least. And then number 3 is positive affirmations. By now, yes, the coffee has brewed. We slide that in there, right? So I've had a glass of water with lemon in it. I try to make sure that room temp water goes in my body first thing in the morning before I get on my cup of coffee. So then I'll do my positive affirmations while I lie on the floor in the living room and do some light Pilates, just to feel where my body is. And then number 4, plan my day. So that's looking at my calendar for the day, maybe looking back at the night, day before and just reviewing it, but mostly looking forward. Then number 5 is take a quick walk around the block. I try and do that as early in the morning as possible to get that circadian rhythm going, because sometimes it's really hard for me to sleep. My brain gerbils get going and they're like, and if I do my morning walk, it's just 10-15 minutes around the block, some nice sunshine, love it, vitamin D. And then number 6, I check my garden. I just walk through my garden, do just a little weed here and there, maybe water a plant that needs it, take a look around. Does something need a little trim? Makes me happy, makes me feel like I'm doing something good. If I do those 6 things and then start my day, all in, it takes maybe an hour and a half to do all of them, or so. So self-care. And of course, as they said, if failing to plan is planning to fail. And it is true. Don't be too hard on yourself though, right? It's like you take the positive affirmation, you go, yes. And then on a day where you're like, F it, I'm not doing any positive affirmations. My positive affirmation is no affirmations. Good. So sometimes those are the best days. All right. So we've talked about getting a support system. We've talked about self-care. Number 3 is stepping away. Step away from ballet. I know you go, what does that mean? Quit? No. How can I put this? When I was dancing professionally, it's not that I was doing ballet every day, even on my days off. I was doing ballet like every minute. I was doing it every second in my head. When I was standing, I still, to this day, when I'm just standing, like I'll hear a little voice going, up, posture, up, tummy in, up, up, up. I'm checking in the mirror. Oh my God, how fat am I? Oh my God, oh my God. Have I thought about why I should be doing research? What about this new choreography? How can I improve my turn? How can I this? How can I that? And it becomes obsessive. I don't know if any of you guys deal with this, but that's what I dealt with. And so something that will actually help your ballet improve, and this is what I was talking about with that support system, is stepping away. Okay. And when I say step away, again, go to an art museum. Go to a movie, go out to a restaurant with some friends, go do game night, go karaoke, okay? Doing things outside of ballet will actually make you a better ballet dancer. They talk about this in acting all the time. If you want to be a really good actor, you need to live a full life to be able to bring life experiences to the acting, right? So the same thing goes for dance, I believe. I know, it can, again, you take a day off. If you are obsessed like I was, I could feel, we're talking about a matter of centimeters and inches of change. And when you become so obsessed, right, you can see the difference in weight gain and things. Like I could feel when I'd gain just a little bit of weight and you're like, that is difficult to fight. And I'm not going to tell you guys I know the answer to that, other than, yes, continued therapy, self-love. If you do believe in prayer, whatever you need to do, it's, that's a difficult one. I'm still trying to figure that one out. And if any of you have ideas on that, please put them in the comment box below. Number 4, become your own coach. Now, this one I find really good. And this is what I was talking about to the person who commented on the live stream. We rely on a lot of coaches in ballet to tell us what's good, what's bad, how high our leg is, how to improve. And it's great. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. You'll have different coaches over your lifetime in different areas. But if you can also learn to become your own coach in a healthy way, boy, is that great. For me, if you take it to the place of being hard and mean to yourself, not a good coach. But if you're an objective coach, if you're a positive coach, if you be the coach that you've always wanted, that's where you can step back and sort of distance yourself, right? When I watch, right now I have to watch sets of myself doing stand-up. That's really hard. I couldn't do it today. I just couldn't. I wasn't ready to look at myself with my non-professional dancer body. Now I have a more regular body, and it's hard not to want to burn the footage. That's how much I still struggle with body dysmorphia. I admit it. When I'm in a good headspace, I can step back and I can look at the footage and look at it objectively and go, wow, okay, what can I do better? What did I like? Start with what you liked. So let's say, okay, you're a professional dancer, you're an amateur dancer, you want to do this maybe either after class, if you're just taking classes, or after your workout, or especially after your performance. I love this. Start a journal. Get your voice memos out on your phone if you have voice memos or a tape recorder or something like that. Date it, and then just say, hey, this is a quick review, just a mind dump on how the performance went, how the class went, whatever it is, how rehearsal went. How was I feeling? Well, I was feeling a little bit tired today. Definitely should have gotten some more sleep. A little bit of tension in the right ankle, but it's getting better. I had some really good compliments from the director. I really loved that part with my partner. We had a really nice moment there in the third movement, right after the triple pirouette, moving into that next step. Really like that moment. Let's see if we can keep that. Need to talk to my partner about that later to see if they liked it too and how we can possibly, replicate it. Go over all the good things first. Even if it's just, I showed up today, I didn't throw up, I just got through it. Yay, we showed up, gold star, whatever it needs to be. Then you can start going into what didn't I like, what needs improvement. And, okay, really don't like, when we're finishing that moment here in that épaulement, instead of being here, we need to be a little bit more here, right? So that we get a longer line on the arm versus if it's here, the arm looks a little shorter. You're thinking about audience if you're on stage, what works versus, what the choreographer was asking for. Sorry, I'm losing my eye line. That's great. Eye line. Really need to lengthen, point that foot more. Foot is sickling here. Go for that triple turn. No, it doesn't need a triple. Let's just make it a nice, slow, languid double. Director asked me to do this here. I disagree, but I'm going to have to do what they say. Whatever, partner needs more deodorant. How do I tell them I need more deodorant? Oh my God, whatever. Put all that in there and then just put it away. Sometimes I would do it you can either do it while you're driving home after the show, do it while you're laying in bed and doing your foot stretches before you conk out and go to sleep. Just blab it out. All right, get it out and then put it away. Forget about it. Go to sleep. If you don't have the energy to do it that night, try and do it the next morning. But it's best if you can do it right after the performance. I know that the directors can have their own notes. Maybe that will help with your own notes. And down the road, it could lead to something really interesting for a blog, for a book, etc. if you've saved all this. But that's number 4, right? Is be your own coach. Because the more you can become self-aware about what you're doing and not just rely on other people's opinions. Do you love me? Do you hate me? What did you think of my performance? I still have moments like that. Trust me, I do. But I go, wait a minute. Even if everyone hated my performance, that would be a lot. But did I like my performance? Because the fact of the matter is, no matter how good you are or how bad you are or how whatever you are, at least one person out there is going to judge you, is going to not like you for whatever reason, and that's not about you. That is about them, all right? Repeat after me. Their judgment of you is not about you, it's about them. And vice versa, by the way. Your judgment of them is not about them, that's about you. Keep that in mind. So really what matters is, what did you think of your performance, right? I just did a stand-up set last weekend, and I knew as I was finishing it, I was like, I finished on a down note. I didn't get a good punch there at the very end, a nice, ta-da, tag. I was trying something a little bit different with my final bit. I was like, and I'm going to finish it here. And then I went, oh shoot, that's all I have. And I didn't come up with, I tagged it, I did, but it wasn't great. And so it just left the audience on kind of a, note. And it had been a really good set for me up until then. I was like, damn it. So the whole time I'm walking back to the car, I'm like, oh, I should have done this differently. God dang it. I can't believe, man, I want to do better. But I wasn't hating myself like, the world is over. I suck. Just sometimes what is very tempting to do when I deal with anxiety and overwhelm and all these things. Nope. So good, better, best. Repeat after me. Good, better, best. What's good is I did a good show. What's better? I improved some of my bits. What's best is next time I'm going to find a better. I'm going to re-rehearse, tighten it, mold it, shape it, run it, and make sure I've got a really pow of a punch at the very end, so that no matter what, if they give me 7 minutes instead of 5, or they give me 15 minutes instead of 10, or they give me whatever, you get that extra time. I can put another little bit in there, but I can still finish on a really good tag. I gotta have more of that in my back pocket. I ramble. Also, for number 4, for Be Your Own Coach, it's also really good to do a check-in first thing in the morning, or before you start rehearsal, before you start class. Take a moment, ask yourself. You can do it this way. Who am I? Where am I? And why am I dancing? Or you could say, how do I feel today? Number 1, get a support system. Number 2, self-care. Number 3, step away. Number 4, be your own coach. And number 5, be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself and with everyone around you, because things never happen as fast as we want them to, and then things always happen faster than we want them to. It's just hilarious about life. But whatever you're going through right now, this too shall pass. I don't say that like a yay, I just say it like that's the way it is. And I hope that if you are dealing with overwhelm and you are feeling like, oh my God, you just go from performance to performance and, you're not getting what you need to really feel present, make a comment in the box below and let me know what that feels like, and if there are additional questions or concerns you have. And I'm hoping that by everyone sharing in this community, the more they share, because dancers don't want to share, right? You don't want to look weak. You don't want to admit defeat. You don't want anyone to take your job or take your part, or, oh my God, if I say anything, they'll think I'm crazy, or they'll think I'm losing it, or, oh my God, I can't talk about this. Bad juju. There's so much superstition and fear. And that happens in most professions, funny enough. But if you can find a safe space to talk about it, I'm here and I would love to talk about it more. So, I wanted to show you guys, first of all, don't you love All Might? I have a bit of a unicorn collection. So if you can't see it, this is a picture of me at the Gorge in Kentucky, which was just over the border from Ohio, I guess. So, from Cincinnati, we drove and went camping in the Gorge. That's me right there in this big natural stone amphitheater, which they told me Native Americans used to gather there. It was a sacred place. I don't know if any of you guys know this place, and up there, you can't see it, but there was the tiniest waterfall coming down, and it was so slender that by the time it reached us, it just turned into mist and blew away. And I remember this trip was so life-changing for me, because I was so miserable when I was at Cincinnati Ballet. And that's not all Cincinnati Ballet's fault. I mean, it's life and my own, personal challenges and things too. It's a combination of a lot of things. When I went on this trip and I met those people and I just got to be a regular human again, and I was here in nature, surrounded by all this beauty, I just really felt like everything was going to be okay. And I didn't need to take things quite so seriously. And I felt really happy. And so, that's me at 20, I think. Good Lord. And, you see, she's so small. She's so small in that massive space. So it brought me a lot of comfort. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps you guys. Thank you for watching. My name is Georgia Reed. You've been watching Ballerina Badass. Never give up. Never stop dancing. Unless, of course, you need to give up and you need to stop dancing. Don't worry. Take a break. Dance will be there. Dance will always be there. I love you all. Toy, toy, toy.